All right, welcome to the Healthy Dining Handbook e-course. This is going to be a course that's going to be very beneficial for a lot of people. As you know, we're social creatures and we have to go out to eat with friends and family, and sometimes that is an enjoyable experience, but a lot of times that can be a experience that is met with a lot of trepidation and nervousness because we know that going out to eat at these restaurants will provide some level of added extra fat and oil and sodium and sugar because that's just the way they make the foods because that's what makes the foods taste really, really good. So what happens is you go out to eat and you don't want to be able to blow all your goals that you made in the past, or you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to improve your health, and you don't want it to sabotage the path that you're on as well. And whether you're a person who has dietary restrictions, maybe you're dairy, lactose intolerant, so you're staying away from dairy, or you're staying away from saturated fat, or you're staying away from sodium, or maybe you have dietary restrictions or dietary parameters that you like to stay in. If you're a vegetarian or vegan like myself and Kim, you want to be able to know that you can go to these restaurants and that you can pick out foods that are going to stay within your goals and keep you achieving the type of health that you want to achieve. So this is a great course for you guys. We've developed a lot of tips over the past couple of years, Kim and I, of how to go out and eat at restaurants. Especially, we both are vegans, so when we go out to eat, we most times are going out to people, well, I would say all the time, unless it's just Kim and I, we're going out to eat with people who are not vegan. So a lot of times we're going to restaurants that are not vegan restaurants most of the time. In fact, 99% of the time we go to restaurants that are not vegan restaurants. So we have to be able to find a way to go out and still stay within our health parameters and the way we want to eat. So this is going to be a e-course that is going to really help you guys, give you guys a lot of great information. So thank you guys for joining. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. All right, what we're going to learn in this e-course. Okay, the first thing is selecting the restaurants, how to select restaurants that are going to keep you within your goals. Restaurants that you're going to be able to go to and find items on the menu that are going to be within your dietary restrictions and within situations that you want to stay in, parameters you want to stay in, so that you can continue to lose weight or keep your blood pressure down or keep diabetes off the table for your family and for yourself. These are going to be a way that you can select the restaurants. Now, most times you're going to be going out to eat with other people, and a lot of times you're going to have to compromise that. You're going to have to go to restaurants that you haven't selected, someone else has selected, but we're going to give you a lot of information in this course on how to navigate those other restaurants as we go through here. Previewing menus is the number one key thing that you're going to learn in here, and how to preview those menus and how to look at those menus in a way that you can decipher them and figure out what foods you're going to eat. We're also going to talk about hidden ideas that we've used and tricks that we've used of how to look at entree items and pick out things that you can eat or that you can add to your entree to help make your entree 100% within your goals. We'll show you how to identify some pitfalls. There's a lot of common pitfalls that are on pretty much every menu, and some things that you can look for, and we'll kind of go through that type of situation with you and how you can recognize those pitfalls. We'll also tell you how to talk with the wait staff. There's a certain way that you can go about to get the wait staff on your side and make sure that they're rooting for you and they're working for you, and they're going to help you make sure you stay within the parameters of how you want to eat at the restaurant. I'll also give you some gluten tips, how to stay away from gluten. There's a lot of hidden things that have gluten in them that you wouldn't know would have gluten in them, and I know this because I am a gluten sensitive person. So I have to stay clear of that, and we'll give you some tips on that as well. If you are wanting to try a plant-based lifestyle or you are vegan, we'll also go through a lot of situations where we can give you guys tips and tricks on what to look for on these menus and at these restaurants, since we have been vegan for almost 8 years now. So we'll give you some tips on that. We'll also give you some tips on how to lower your fat intake at these restaurants. Understand that if you're going to go to a restaurant, you just have to accept the fact that you are going to eat a higher fat meal. There's just no way of getting around it because they add all kinds of fat to their food, because that's what makes the food taste good, and that's what makes you want to eat more food. High fat and high sodium makes you want to eat more food, and that's why they put it in there. But we'll give you some tips and some tricks on how to eat a lower fat diet at some of these restaurants will help you out a lot. So let's get rocking. All right, selecting restaurants. This is the pre planning stage of going to the restaurant, and this is one of the biggest things that you can do to make sure that you're going to stay within your health goals, and that is taking a look at things before you even leave the house, long before you even step foot into the restaurant. So, here are some ideas and some things that we've learned over the time period of the past couple of years that has really helped us navigate these restaurants. You want to decide how many times you're going to eat out if you're going on vacation for a few days. And we've done this a bunch of times. And this will help because you can kind of pre plan where you're eating and how often you're going to eat. A lot of times when we go on vacation, maybe we'll take breakfast. We'll purchase breakfast items at a grocery store in town. So we'll say, okay, snacks and breakfast we're going to eat in the hotel room, and then lunch and dinner we're going to eat out at restaurants, or maybe we're just going to eat out at restaurants for dinner. So we will pre-plan that, and that can help if you know how many times you're going to want to eat out. Also, look at the maps function, Google Maps or Apple Maps, and you can find the places that are close to where you're staying in the restaurant, or I'm sorry, at the hotel, and you can find out what places are close, and then you can go view those menus online right through the apps. Now, I would caution you guys that when you do this, you're going to notice that sometimes the menus in the Google app platform or the Apple's Maps platform isn't always exact. A lot of times it's a photograph that people have taken and uploaded to the Google Map location. So it's not always accurate, and sometimes it's hard to read. So I would always suggest that you go to the website and look at their menus online before you go to the restaurant. If you are trying to stay vegan or vegetarian, there's a great website called happycow.net. You go to that website, and what happens is you will type in your location, and they will give you the list of all the restaurants around you that have the dietary parameters that you want to stay in. So you'll check a box for you're looking for vegan, you're looking for vegetarian, or you're looking for a place that just has vegan options but may not necessarily be a vegan restaurant completely. But you will just go ahead and put that into your checkbox, and it'll spit out all the restaurants that are around you that have those parameters. Viewing the menus before you ever get to the restaurant is absolutely key. I cannot stress this enough that you have to view the menus before you even get to the restaurant. A lot of times you get to the restaurant, people are chit-chatting, they're talking, and next thing you know, they want to order. It's dark in there, you can't read it very well. Sometimes the menus aren't clearly laid out as they should be. So previewing them online is really, really going to help you out, because you're going to really have just a really good game plan before you ever get to the restaurant. Okay, I know what I'm ordering. I'm ordering this. I'm ordering this side. I'm going to have this for salad or whatever. You just have a lot more time to really dig into the menu than you do when everyone's kind of chit-chatting and talking. And then, most people are going to be like, okay, I'm going to take the chicken parmesan. Well, you're a little bit different, because you want to stay healthy and you want to pick apart a few things, and you want to make sure if you have dietary restrictions that you don't have anything that has something that's going to make you sick for a couple days. So you're going to need to take a little bit more time looking at that menu than the next person in your party. So do this online well before you get to the restaurant. At the bottom or the top of a lot of menus, they will show the allergens on most menus. If there's gluten in it, or if it has dairy, or if it's spicy, or if it has nuts. A lot of times there will be some type of legend on the menu that you can look at that will tell you that which ones have the different dietary restrictions for you. So make sure you look at that. If you have questions, just call ahead. I mean, there's many times we've made reservations and I've called ahead and I've just said, look, saw this on your menu. How do you prepare that? Is that prepared in oil, or is that prepared? Is that roasted, or is that steamed? And a lot of times I'll just tell them, hey, we're having a party of 6 people come in, and 2 people are vegan and 1 person is gluten intolerant or gluten sensitive. So you just tell them ahead of time, and they will make notations on their side of the house, and they will when they talk to you, they will. When you get there, they'll already know that 2 people are vegan, 1 person is gluten intolerant. They'll say, okay, which one is it in the group? And then this way they can kind of help you. If you plan out each meal in advance, This will help you, and we've done this when we're on vacation. So Saturday we're going to this restaurant, and we'll write it down on a piece of paper. Saturday we're going to this restaurant. I'm ordering this, 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 and this. And then Saturday or Sunday for lunch we're going to this restaurant. I'm going to order this, 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 this. Got it all mapped out before we even step foot on the airplane, before we even go on vacation. I know that seems a bit much, but I'm telling you, preparation and planning is the absolute key to staying healthy and staying at a healthy weight and staying away from disease and health issues. Planning and preparation is what gets you to the next level, because you're not ever caught in a situation where you just have to eat something that was unhealthy because that's all there was. If you plan ahead of time, you're going to be able to do this in a great, great, great fashion. So that's where we do the selecting the restaurants in the pre-planning stage. Right, previewing the menus. Now this is where it gets really into the nitty-gritty. You're going to preview some menus, and when you're doing that, there's going to be some certain things that you're going to want to look at as you look at the menu online or wherever you're looking at it, preferably before you even get to the restaurant. But even if you get to the restaurant, this will help you as well. There will be allergen notations on most menus. Some do not have them, but most now are having that on their menus. So it will say next to it, it's got a little icon that has like a little wheat icon and then a line through it. So, okay, that has no wheat. And there's the things that you can usually find on the menu somewhere on there. So look for that. Some menus, like the Chipotle menu and I believe the Jimmy John's menu, when you go online, you can actually choose the specific allergen that you want to stay away from and check the box, and then it will give you the menu without those items that you wanted excluded. And that's a great tool online. If you can find that are selectable, where you can select the allergen that you don't want in food, they will only show you menu items that don't have that. And a lot of times, gluten-free is a big thing now. You can go and find a gluten-free selectable menu that you'll just click the box that says stay away from gluten, and then everything pops up underneath it that does not have gluten in it. Also, when you get to the restaurant, you can also ask, hey, can I see a gluten-free menu? But the whole point of previewing the menu online is to be able to get you guys to do that well ahead of time to save you time in the restaurant. The icons usually have spicy, they have non-spicy foods, they have, heart healthy, gluten free, dairy free. A lot of those icons will show that in the menu, so you can look for that. Make sure you look for that. In the appetizer menu is where a lot of times you can find a little bit healthier things like salads and like steamed vegetables, and a lot of times it's other things like nachos and spinach artichoke dip. But a lot of times what I've done is I've used a side that comes with an entree for the appetizer. So I look on the menu and I see, beef brisket with steamed seasonal veggies. So I'll be like, okay, I want these seasonal veggies for my appetizer. And I will ask that for an appetizer, or I'll order a big salad. A lot of times they'll have super big salads on there that are actually entree salads. They're like 15, 16 bucks, so that's a bigger salad. I will say, hey, I want to order this, whatever, chicken salad, chicken walnut salad, no chicken on it, but I want that as an appetizer. So you just order that as an appetizer, and the waitstaff will be more than happy to do that for you. When you're looking at drink menus, those of you that want to stay away from alcohol, look for these mocktails. These are alcohol. The drinks don't have alcohol in them, but they taste just like the drink. Like we've had mojitos with no alcohol, and I've had mules with no alcohol in them. And that's a great way, if you're trying to stay away from alcohol, to be able to order a cocktail with friends, but you don't have the alcohol in it. And then we all know that the reason why they want to feed you drinks when you get to the restaurant is because alcohol makes you eat more. 100%, and it makes you spend more money, and it makes you stay longer. So these restaurants offer the bread, and they offer the alcohol in the beginning and the wine list, because they know that's going to get you to spend more money. and that means you're going to eat more food. So that's why they do it. So those are some tips on previewing the menus. Definitely previewing that menu ahead of time is best. But even when you get to the restaurant, those are some definitely things that you can look for. All right, hidden ideas. These are some ideas that we've tips and tricks that we've picked up over time that we have been able to do where we find items that are on entrees of things that we're not going to order, but then we use them for our order. So let's say you're ordering a plant-based burger, for instance, and it comes with French fries, but you don't want French fries, but you look over at this other entree item that is whatever it is, chicken brisket, like I said, or maybe it's a roasted chicken, but it comes with red potatoes. Well, if you're ordering the burger, just say, I want the burger. I don't want the potato strings or the onion rings that come with it. I saw these potatoes on this other entree item. I would like those potatoes instead for my side. And 100% of the time, they will do this. I've never had a restaurant refuse to do this, not one time. So look in these other entrees that you're not going to order for their sides that come with it or their salads that come with it, and just add that to your entree. That's a great thing that we do all the time. And you're just substituting those sides for other entree selections. This is all you're doing. You're just taking a side and stealing it from another entree, bringing it onto yours. And like I said before, and we do this often, is we'll order sides as an appetizer, or sometimes we'll order a side as the whole meal. I went to Outback Steakhouse years ago and I ordered two baked potatoes, which were on the sides menu, two orders of the seasonal steamed veggies, which was on the side menu, and I ordered a salad. So I ordered everything off the side menu as my entree, and I just told the wait staff that that's how I would like it. I had the salad as an appetizer, and then bring the baked potatoes and the seasonal veggies as my entree with the rest of the meal. And that's exactly what I did. So those are some tips that you can use, hidden little tricks and things that we've done with other entree items that can kind of keep you going, keep you going forward with your goals. Okay, building confidence. When you're talking with the wait staff, the thing of it is just if you most wait staff now, they understand that people are going to be gluten free and some people are going to be dairy free and some of us are going to try to be vegan and plant based. Most people are not going to give you a problem about this. I've had a couple of places kind of roll their eyes. I've had wait staff roll their eyes at me, and but for the most part, people will be accommodating to you because they want your business. But if you go in there and you just run in there and I'm vegan and rah and I just hate meat and I despise meat, if you go in there like that, you're not going to get a friendly wait staff. So you got to go in there and just say, hey, look, I'm trying to keep my weight down. I'm trying to stay away from sodium, or I'm trying to stay away from dairy. It doesn't really agree with me. Can you help me out? I need your help here. Can you kind of just help me out with what you have to offer? And they're going to be more than accommodating with that. I've never had a wait staff except for the two times. One time was not in this state; it was in another state, and she rolled her eyes at me when I told her that I didn't want the meat on my tacos because I was vegan, and then she kind of rolled her eyes at me. But most wait staff's going to be very accommodating to you. Ask for the gluten-free menu. If they have it, they're going to give that to you. A lot of places have a separate gluten-free menu, but keep in mind those are not always accurate. Now I'm going to get into things to be looking for in the gluten tips later on in this presentation, but I'm going to show you that you got to be careful with the gluten-free menu. Let them know your dietary needs. If you're dairy intolerant or you're trying to stay away from sodium because you have high blood pressure, let them know that right off the bat, and they will help and accommodate. And like I said before, call ahead when making a reservation and just let them know, hey, we got a couple people that are gluten-free in the group, and we just want to let you know that ahead of time. And they will be more than accommodating when you get there. Okay, some common pitfalls of eating out. Obviously, when you eat out, you understand the fact that you're going to be eating out. So there's nothing you can really do about that as far as you're going to have a fattier meal than you would have if you were eating at home. There's just no way getting around it. It's going to have more sodium. It's going to have more fat. It's going to have more oil. It's going to have more sugar. There's nothing you can do about that. But some things you got to watch out for is the sodium, the oils, obviously the sugar. Everyone's pretty much staying away from that. And so the high sodium foods are obviously, cooks just throw a lot of sodium on stuff. One of the things that I found is that if you ask them to not put sodium, not put salt on things, they will not put sodium on things. I've ordered French fries and I always tell them no salt on the fries because they will throw a lot of salt on the fries. If you're ordering stir fries and things of that nature, be careful of that because they throw a lot of sodium in there. Anything that says teriyaki is going to be high sodium. Anything that's got soy sauce in it, going to be high sodium. You want to stay away from that. Most of the cooking sauces that you will have, any glazes or anything, Jack Daniels glaze, bourbon glazes, all these things are going to take a high sodium content when they're frying them on the grill with whatever they're grilling, your chicken, your vegetables, whatever. So be careful of those little kind of tricks and pitfalls that you can run into. Best thing to do is just ask them, and I do this all the time, tell the cook to use no salt. I just tell them straight out, tell the cook not to use any salt. Now, there's already going to be salt in some of these sauces, but there's nothing you can do about that. It's already built into the sauce. Now, oils are a big thing in restaurants. They use a lot of oil. And if you've ever noticed people when they cook the cooking shows, they say, we're just going to add a tablespoon of oil, and they do this. And it's way more than a tablespoon of oil. It's like a quarter cup, third of a cup of oil. So they're going to use a lot of oil in these restaurants, and there's not a lot you can do about it. You're going to have to accept it. But again, just tell the waitstaff, tell the cook to use no oil. And I've had sauteed veggies, and I've asked for them to be steamed, and they've steamed them for me because I looked at another entree, and it said steamed asparagus. But my entree came like a taco that would come with sauteed veggies. But I know they can saute the veggies because they're sauteing the asparagus in another entree. So I just asked them if they can saute it. Now, many times they will pre-cook the sauteed veggies, the mushrooms, the onions, all of these sauteed veggies that are going to go in your fajitas and go on top of something or in tacos. A lot of stuff is sauteed well ahead of time, and you're not going to be able to get away from the oil from that. But if you just make a couple of comments, say, hey, tell the cook not to use any oil if you can help it, you can kind of greatly reduce how much oil you're going to get. Be careful of chips. Chips are made one of two ways. Mostly they're put in the fryer, usually a day or so before they're going to sell them, and then they're just going to warm the chips up. So all chips already have oil in them, in the chip, in the makeup of the chip, the ingredient of the chip, but now we're also going to put them in the deep fryer. So now you're adding oil on top of oil. So if you're trying to stay away from fat, saturated fat, and oils, and trying to stay lean and lose weight, you're going to want to stay away from oils. And chips are going to be a big downfall. Also, what I found is corn shells, a lot of times they will throw them on the grill where all the oil's at to warm them up rather than warming them in an oven or something else. They will throw them on a griddle, and when you bring them out, you'll see it'll be a ton of oil. So that's one thing you got to ask the waitstaff as well. How are the tortillas warmed up? I don't want them warmed on the griddle in oil. So you can ask that. Sugar, obviously, everyone's always looking at their sugar content. All of your dressings and your sauces and stuff are pretty much going to have sugar in it. That's just something you're going to have to accept. So you can kind of, if you want to have a low sugar dressing or sauce, it's going to be hard to find in a restaurant. You're going to have to just accept there's going to be sugar. I'm not a big person, me or Kim, that really shies away from sugar. Sugar is not really an enemy in your health. Sodium and oil is the biggest stumbling block in your health goals and staying healthy, especially getting off high blood pressure. Sodium and oils and diabetes. Oils, fat is going to be your big number one. We don't really shy away from sugar, but if you're trying to stay away from sugar, you're going to want to try to stay away from dressings and sauces and those type of things. When you look at dressings, the one thing you have to keep in mind is that if it says vinaigrette in the name of the dressing, lemon vinaigrette, raspberry vinaigrette, poppy seed vinaigrette, it has oil in it 100% of the time. That's what the term vinaigrette means. It's going to be vinegar and oil in it together. So if you're trying to be low fat, you're going to have to stay away from anything that says vinaigrette in it and look for a low fat dressing or a fat free dressing. Most places have those. A lot of dressings will have gluten in them as a thickener. A lot of dressings will have dairy in them, like honey mustard will have little milk in it. Many dressings just have those things in them already made into them as the thickener, especially gluten. You can ask the wait staff, do you have any gluten-free dressings? Do you have any dairy-free dressings? And those are typically going to be your vinaigrettes. So you're going to have a choice to make. Do I want to eat no dairy in a dressing and take all the oil? Or do I want to take the fat-free French dressing they have, which has no oil in it, but may have a little bit of thickener, cornstarch, or wheat in it, or may have dairy in it? The thing of it is, in these dressings, they use cornstarch a lot, and cornstarch isn't inherently made with gluten, but the fact of the matter is that the cornstarch is made on the same machines at the plant that the wheat and the flour is, and so it gets cross-contaminated into that cornstarch. I've had reactions to cornstarch myself. So unless you're making gluten certified gluten-free cornstarch at home that you're using, I guarantee you the stuff in the restaurant is not gluten-free cornstarch, certified gluten-free cornstarch. It's just run-of-the-mill cornstarch that they're going to put into their dressings and use to thicken up. And a lot of the dressings and stuff that they buy out of house. They don't make in-house. They buy it and it's already in the ingredient list from what's been purchased. So be careful on the dressings. Dips like guacamole we found have dairy in them a lot because they use that to make the yield bigger, make it a little creamier. So you got to be careful about that. Just ask, hey, what's in the guacamole? Is it dairy free? And just ask the wait staff to ask the cook what's in it. Like I said, the sauces, be careful of those. Those are high in sodium. Almost always are they going to be high in sodium. Any type of barbecue sauce, any type of teriyaki sauce, soy sauce, all these things are going to be very, very high in sodium. So if you're trying to bring your blood pressure down or stay a low sodium diet, which we promote, keep your sodium low, keep your fat low, and everything else will fall into place. You're going to have to be careful of the sauces. So those are a couple tips on that front. Okay, gluten-free tips. I'm gluten sensitive. Kim is not. She can eat as much gluten and flour and wheat as she wants, and she doesn't have any reaction at all. But I do have a reaction. I have a pretty high sensitivity to gluten, and it depends on the gluten. So it's a tricky thing to figure out what you're going to react to. So what I've advised, and I've said this to my clients, is that just say no to everything that possibly could have gluten in it, and you don't have to worry about having a reaction. Rather than trying to see, okay, well, I might be able to have this, I might be able to have that, just stay away from it at all costs. If you can avoid it, it's just best to avoid it. But there are going to be times that you're going to try to order something from a restaurant, and you have to know that some things are hidden with gluten in them. Like I said before, ask for the gluten-free menu. That's the biggest thing you can do because everything on there, they are saying, we know this doesn't have any gluten. But they will also say at the bottom of the menu, we try our best to not have gluten in the foods that are gluten-free. And this always says it at the bottom of the gluten-free menu, which is kind of funny. But they'll say, we try our best to serve gluten-free items, but we are not a gluten-free facility because cross-contamination is going to occur. If you're in the kitchen and you got your hands or your gloves on a flour tortilla and now you go grab the gluten-free bun, if you're a person who's super sensitive to gluten, you're probably going to react to that. Or if I take a chicken breast that's got a breading on it with a wheat breading on it, a flour breading on it, and I put it in the fryer, the deep fryer, and I pull it out, and then I put your French fries, which are gluten-free, and I put those in the same fryer. If you're super sensitive to gluten, you may have a reaction to that, and that's something you're going to have to be careful of. I can generally have fries that are in a fryer that has been also had other gluten items in it and don't react. But if I have the breading, I will definitely react most times. So be careful of that. Ask for the gluten-free menu. That's usually the first place to start. Like I said, fries, tots, onion rings, a lot of times these have breadings on them because they will throw a dusting of flour onto the French fries or the tater tots in the breading before they freeze it because then when they put it in the fryer, it crisps up a little bit better. So a lot of times fries, which you would think, okay, it's potato, it's not, doesn't have any gluten in it. It should be 100% gluten free. But in the ingredient list on the box of fries, if you look, it will say wheat because they add it to the breading. So be careful of that. What I do if I'm going to order French fries, I will ask them, are the French fries gluten free? And they will go back and ask the cook, or they'll go back and look at the box and find out in the ingredient list, are the fries or the sweet potato fries or the tater tots gluten free? So just ask the wait staff to check and make sure. Like I said before in the previous slide, the dressings, you got to be careful of that because they use cornstarch and other types of flour and wheat in order to thicken up the sauces. So you got to be very careful with that. Same thing with your soy sauces. All soy sauce has wheat in it. Unless you're getting a gluten-free soy sauce, it is going to have gluten in it. So if you're getting a teriyaki that's made with soy sauce, it's typically going to have wheat in it 100% of the time. So you got to be careful of those type of sauces. Some of the soups, again, they throw in flour to thicken up the soup. They throw in cornstarch to thicken up the soup. So a lot of soups will have gluten in them as well. So make sure you ask, is this soup gluten free? Just be able to ask a lot of questions. As you guys can see within this e-course, that asking questions is key. And I know if you have to ask them, hey, go check the package of your sweet potato fries. I want to make sure they're gluten free. Because a lot of times you'll ask the wait staff and you'll say, are the sweet potatoes gluten free? And they'll say, oh, yeah, they're sweet potatoes. Yeah, they're gluten free. Well, are they? Are you sure about that? Are you 100% sure about that? I would ask them, go check the box and make sure. And I've had them come back to me. It's like, you know what? You're right. They do have gluten in them. I was like, yeah, I kind of thought so because that's very common in the industry. So don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions. As you can see, look, it's going to be a little bit embarrassing at first for you. Maybe you're going to feel a little weird about it at first. You can be going out to eat with friends and you're going to be asking way more questions than your fellow friends and family are at the dinner table, at the restaurant table. They're going to look at there and like, yeah, I'll take the quarter pound bacon burger and waffle fries. And you're going to be like, okay, well, let me ask you how this is prepared. And it's going to feel weird at you at first, but you know what? It's your health that's on the line. And if you want to remain healthy and you want to remain disease free and medication free and remain at a healthy weight, these are the things you do. You do this in other areas of your life. You prepare and ask questions in every other area of your life. A contractor comes over and wants to do something at your house, you ask a lot of questions. This is nothing different than asking a lot of questions when your health is involved. So those are the gluten-free tips for you to make sure, because I've been burned many times in the restaurant. So believe me, you want to ask a lot of questions. All right. If you're trying to stay a low-fat diet, which we do over here as well, Kim and I eat low-fat, high-carb diet, you want to ask the right questions as far as fat as well. And here's some tips to look out for fat that is hidden in a lot of foods that you wouldn't know. Everyone knows that, a bacon burger is going to have a lot of fat. The roasted chicken is going to have a lot of fat. The breaded chicken is okay, everyone knows that. But there's some things that maybe you haven't thought of. Like I said before, a lot of the tortilla chips and the tortillas can be heated in oil. The chips can be fried in the fryer. They can put them in the fryer to warm them up real quick for like 5 seconds. The tortillas can be heated on the griddle, which has oil on it. A lot of these things can be adding oil to your entree that you don't want to do if you're trying to stay low fat. So make sure you look out for that. We had ordered a hummus, which a lot of hummuses are made with olive oil. I don't know why they do this. As you guys can see with my hummus recipe that I've made for you guys, that there's no need to put olive oil in your hummus. Hummus already has fat in it from the tahini. So if you're trying to get something to give it a more creamy texture, what I suggest is you use the juice from the chickpeas out of the can. It's called fava liquid. And you use that, and that will cream up your hummus. But a lot of times hummus has oil in it. So you might want to ask, is there oil in the hummus? Or what we've had is we ordered a hummus a couple weeks ago at a restaurant, and it came out in a nice little cool little decorative jar. It looked awesome. And then on top, they put about 1/8 of a cup of olive oil right on top. Now, I don't know who would want to add all that oil to their already oily hummus. Like, I already accepted the fact that the hummus probably had oil inside of the mixture, but I certainly didn't want an eighth of a cup of oil on top of it as well. So these are some things that you have to be mindful of and be on the lookout for. Your fajita veggies are almost always sauteed in oil. Not a lot you can do about that. Like I said, just tell the wait staff, can you just talk to the cook and tell him to use as little oil as he possibly can? And I've done this at Mexican restaurants all the time, and most times they will do it. Sometimes they completely ignore what you said, and it comes out and it looks like just a pile of wet, salty, saucy, saturated vegetables. But there's nothing you can do at that point. You've done what you can, and all you can do is eat it and accept it, or send it back and wait for it to come back to you. But roasted veggies also, they drizzle olive oil on it before they put them in the oven. So even though it says roasted, you think, well, I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to eat these roasted veggies and roasted potatoes. Roasted potatoes and roasted veggies are almost always drizzled and drenched in oil before they go in, because that's what gets them crispy in the oven. That's what makes them crisp up. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. Like I said before, the dressings that are labeled vinaigrettes all have oil in them. So if you want a low-fat, oil-free dressing, you're going to have to order a fat-free dressing. But that may also mean that it may have wheat in it, and it may have gluten in it, and it may have dairy in it. So you're going to have to figure out what you want to do as a trade-off. Or what I do, and I know this is crazy, I've done this before, and I don't do it often enough, but I really should do it more often. Bring your own dressing to the restaurant. And I know that's like psycho behavior, but look, we want to live a long life. We don't want to be on medications. We don't want to be having surgeries. And we want to stay healthy and stay at a healthy weight. So these are the things that we do that are different than other people. We bring our own dressing to the restaurant. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. And that's the thing you want to do if you want to stay away from oil completely with the dressings. All right, so let's say you want to be a plant-based diet and you want to eat vegan. Obviously, myself and Kim have been vegan for 8 years now, and we have some tips and some tricks that we can give you guys that we have learned over the years so that we don't accidentally eat something that we really don't want to eat. But look, all of us that are vegan or plant-based, we know that there's going to be some times that you're going to have some animal product in your food. I've had veggie fajitas. Kim has had veggie fajitas, and we find a couple of pieces of chicken in there. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You can just pick it out and you move on. You go forward and you just accept the fact. But if you want to try to stay away from animal products, here's some tips that we've learned over the years. Like I said before, dressings a lot of times have milk in them. It's very common in like your honey mustards. Obviously, a ranch is going to have milk in it. Anything that's got crema, C-R-E-M-A, or C-R-E-M-E, or A at the end, C-R-E-M-A, crema, that's cheese. That's going to be a sauce that's going to be on top of your tacos. So you want to look for that. Always make sure that you check all your sauces. The veggie burgers, a lot of times they will use eggs to hold it together because they need a binder. When I make our veggie burgers, I use a flax egg, which is basically flaxseed, ground flaxseed mixed with water, and you let it sit. The fat in the flax seeds is what the fat that's helped binding the burger together. But in the restaurants, they will commonly use eggs in the veggie burger. So they'll say, hey, veggie burger, got a great veggie burger on the menu here, but it's not vegan. It is vegetarian because it has eggs in it. The other thing you can be on the lookout for, a lot of places have Impossible Burgers now, Beyond Meat Burgers. The Impossible Burger has wheat in it. The Beyond Burger does not. So if you're gluten-free, you're going to want to order the Beyond Burger. Do not order the Impossible Burger because I believe that has that has wheat gluten protein in there. Dips, like I said, guacamole. Be careful, that has milk in it many, many times. Just ask the wait staff, does the guacamole have milk in it? I'm dairy-free. I want to stay away from dairy. They'll let you know. The wraps and tortillas almost always have wheat flour in them. Very, very rare that you're going to find a gluten-free tortilla unless you order the corn shells. But even a lot of corn shells they're not always have gluten in them, but they can't be certified gluten-free. We buy tortillas at the store that say certified gluten free because they're made in a facility that don't cross contaminate. But most corn shells are made on the same machines that wheat shells are made on, so they can't really guarantee that. And in a restaurant, trust me, they're not going to spend the extra money to get you your gluten free certified gluten free tortillas. They're just going to buy the regular old corn tortillas and sell it to the masses. So like I said, sometimes you just got to go to a restaurant. When we go to Mexican restaurants, I just accept the fact I'm getting a corn shell that's maybe not the very best one that I'd like to have, but I'm going to have a corn shell nonetheless. Sometimes the toppings on these foods are not mentioned on the menu. Like you'll order a salad and it won't say cheese and egg on it, and it will come with cheese and egg on it. We've had this happen to us a couple times. Or I ordered black beans at a Mexican restaurant, and when we got the side order of black beans, it came out with sprinkled Parmesan cheese on it, or no, shredded. Yeah, it was Parmesan cheese on top of the black beans. So you have to ask. It's like I said, the theme of this is you got to ask a lot of questions. So basically, you have to say to yourself, okay, look, I want to order these black beans on the side. I don't want any cheese or any sour cream on top of there at all. Just the black beans, okay? Just let the wait staff know that. But you're gonna have to ask questions because sometimes it just saves you time because otherwise they bring out the black beans, they set it down in front of you, and there's cheese on it, and you're like, yeah, I didn't want cheese. I didn't know there was cheese on it. It didn't say it on the ingredient list on the menu, so I didn't know. And you got to send it back. You got to bring it back, and sometimes they just pick off the cheese. I had a restaurant one time a while ago, and they just picked off the chicken and picked off the cheese off of my salad. I remember that time they tried to pick it off the cheese, and I still found little tiny bits of cheese down at the bottom. I'm like, okay, well, you can't do that. Like, you got to remake the whole salad, but they may not remake the whole salad. So it's better to ask ahead of time so that you can make sure that you take care of it before that. Like I said, look before the icons. Some people have icons now for vegan and vegetarian. Now, vegan and vegetarian are not the same. A V typically will be vegetarian. A VG will typically be vegan. And this is an important distinction you need to make because people who are vegetarian will not eat the flesh of an animal, but they will eat the byproduct of an animal. So they'll eat their eggs, they'll eat their milk, but they will not eat the flesh. So, something that's vegetarian, like you see vegetarian tacos on a Mexican restaurant all the time. So, the funny thing of it is that still comes with cheese on it. Still comes with sour cream on it. See what I'm saying? It's not vegan. So make sure you're looking at what's vegan and what's vegetarian and knowing what the difference is. And if you have questions, just ask to make sure. Is this vegan? Does this have any milk in it? And just find out what you can do from the wait staff and have them help you out and make sure you ask a lot of questions and make sure that it's vegan if you want to stay vegan or plant-based. In the next couple of slides here, we're going to go through a couple of online menus, and I'm going to walk you through how Kim and I would go through the process of finding out what we're going to order on these two menus so that you guys can have a sense of how we go about taking all the things that I've just shared with you in this presentation and show you guys how we go about and use these things that I've just showed you in a real life situation with an actual menu. And we'll show you that in the next couple of slides, and then we'll wrap things all up in the conclusion. All right, guys, so we're going to go through a couple menus here with you real quick, kind of show you what we would do in order to eat at these restaurants. There are a couple of restaurants we've been to before, but it's basically going to be the process that we used when we first went to these two restaurants. One is a restaurant that we've been to a couple of times, one that we went to maybe twice after becoming vegan and after me knowing that I'm gluten intolerant. So we'll take you through these two menus and show you kind of our process that we use to figure out what to eat, just using the presentation I just gave you. So now we're at Water Street Brewery. We're here. This is a place that is pretty common and we've been to a few times. So on this main menu page, they have a gluten-free menu. So if you click on that, that's going to open up another, but I want to open it up in the same window if I can, but I can't. So I'll open it up here. It's going to pop open and I'm going to share this tab. All right, so we're sharing this one. So now you can see it's not a very big menu, very small. Okay, it tells you. Obviously, it's a lot of meat. A lot of meat stuff doesn't have gluten in it. No buns on it, those type of things. But it will tell you dressings that are gluten free. That's what it says right here, right? Let's get this a little bit bigger for my old eyes. There we go. Dressings, choices: honey mustard, gluten free, probably got milk in it. Ranch, got milk in it. Chipotle ranch, got milk in it. Oil and vinegar, got oil in it. House balsamic vinaigrette, another highly oily. Avocado vinaigrette, another oily, but doesn't have gluten in it. Like I said, you're going to have to make a choice. Do you want gluten or do you want heavy oil and heavy fat? If you look down here, this beet arugula salad, I have ordered this in the past. Arugula, mixed greens, goat cheese, beets, green beans, candied pecans, balsamic drizzle. I don't get the goat cheese, obviously. Candied pecans, I stay away from candied nuts because there is some gluten in the breading or whatever you want to call it. The candy breading that's on the outside of the nuts. I've gotten burned with candied nuts in the past, so I don't eat those anymore. Plus, they're high in fat. So, balsamic drizzle I put on the side because absolutely never have a restaurant put your dressing on your salad for you because they will drown it in dressing. So, always get the dressing on the side. Now, they have a veggie burger, but it's not on here because it's not gluten free because it's got wheat inside somewhere in the burger. But everything else is kind of meats and stuff like that except for this brewery bowl. Now, this is something that's I've had there as well. I got this rice, black beans, spicy salsa, Monterey jack cheese, pico de gallo, sour cream. Obviously, I ordered it without the sour cream, without the jack cheese, and I just order it without those two things, and then it becomes gluten free, and it's also vegan at that point as well. I don't add any protein to it, obviously, but if you wanted to add the veggie burger, which I'll show you on the next page, you can absolutely do that. So let me share back to the other screen. Let's go back here to the main menu. So you got your main menu here. Obviously, the appetizers. It's gonna be all breaded, fried, deep fried stuff, Scotch egg, brewery chips, all this typical appetizers that you would normally have, which is why I tell you guys always look at the salads for the appetizers because you don't want these deep fried foods and all. Once in a while is fine, but you don't want to be eating it all the time, right? Oh my god, we got asparagus there or celery there we could use, but you just want to skip by all this stuff because this is nothing that you're gonna want to eat if you want to stay healthy. So you're gonna skip by all this stuff. So we get down to the tacos and the bowls and the burgers, right? So brewery bowls, rice, black beans, spicy salsa, Monterey jack cheese, pico de gallo, sour cream. Same thing that we saw on the other page, the gluten-free menu. So this is gluten-free. Here's the steaks and stuff that you can add to it if you want, proteins that you add to it. But I would just get it without the cheese, and I would get it without the sour cream. So that's what I would do for that, and that's what we have done in the past. Pineapple cauliflower tacos, not gluten-free. It's got breading on the cauliflower, so that's going to be wheat filled. It's going to be oily, and it's going to be sautéed, of course. So that's going to be something that's going to be high fat. Fish taco, same thing. But if you come down here, I want to show you where else we would go. Now they do have a where's this veggie burger? Oh yeah, right here. Veggie burger, black bean and quinoa patty, right? Guacamole, lettuce, tomato, red peppers, pineapple salsa, sesame seed roll, avocado vinaigrette. Okay, again, avocado vinaigrette, avocado's already got a lot of fat in it, so let's add oil to it as well and make it even more fatty and put it on your fatty burger. It's like doesn't make any sense at all. I would get this if I was to get. Well, I wouldn't get it because it's not gluten free because it's not on a gluten free menu. And also, veggie burger also a lot of times has egg in it, like I said in the presentation. So you would want to stay away from that if you're trying to be vegan or trying to stay away from animal products. But if you wanted, you could put this on top of your beet and arugula salad if you didn't care about the gluten and you didn't care about staying away from the animal products. So that's something that you could do as well. Now you get down here to the sides, right? Like I said, this is where you're gonna live. This is where you wanna live. This is where you wanna live in the side areas. Where's the sides? Here we go, down here. So what do we got? We got this rice, which we know is gluten free because it was on the other menu, and veggie black beans. Now this was not on the gluten-free menu, but I asked the wait staff the last time I was there, and they found out from the cook that it actually was gluten-free. Now, it is not vegan because when it came out to the table, it had cheese on top of the veggie black beans. Now, I can call it veggie because vegetarian, remember, is not eating flesh, but it is eating byproduct of the animal, which is cheese, milk, dairy, stuff like that. So these do have cheese on it. So if you order these and you don't want cheese, you're gonna have to say no cheese, which is why I say ask a lot of questions. First time I ordered this, I didn't ask. I didn't think there'd be cheese on top of the black beans, but it came out and there certainly was. So I had to send it back, get a new one made. Kind of a hassle, and everyone's looking at you like you're a weirdo, but whatever. So you got to ask a lot of questions. Seasonal veggies. There you go. Boom. Seasonal veggies. Ask the cook, can you steam them? Can you put them? Can you steam them instead of putting them in oil? I just want the seasonal veggies. I'm going to order this. I'm going to order black beans. I'm going to order this rice. Boom. I'm going to order 2 orders of this rice, 2 orders of these black beans, 2 orders of these veggies. I just made myself an entree strictly using the side menu all by itself. So that's the way that we would go about there. So let's go to Outback Steakhouse. Okay. So let's go here. I'll show you. So they have a pretty extensive menu. It's like crazy menu. So let's go here, menu. Okay, they're gonna ask me for location. Greenfields where I ate last. Let's go here. Sorry about that, Pop. Greenfield. Oops, I didn't want mean to do that. Sorry about that. Hang on, hang on. See details. Okay, view menu. All right, so I'm going to share this tab instead because the other one clicked off. You should be able to see this now. Okay, jump to section cocktails, appetizers, soups, steaks, all this other stuff. Our faves, right? From the sea, big bowl salad, Sammy's burgers. What's for lunch? Coldies. Okay, wines and drinks. So, first place we're going to go. Appetizers, you can look at them, but that's what you're going to get, right? You're just gonna get blue cheese chopped salad, fried shrimp, shredded mushrooms. There's typically not gonna be. I mean, I'll look at the appetizer menu, but there's typically not gonna be anything that we are gonna want to. Okay, so it's a back to a top thing. Okay, so cool. Soups and side salads. Let's go there, right? Soups and side salads. It's got the same picture, oddly enough. Weird. Oh, okay. It's on the same menu right here. Potato soup, chilies, French onion soup. Okay, these are all not going to be. Well, there's chili here, but it's not vegan. But yep, no beans in it. So that means it's all meat. And it's spicy. Remember, I talked about the icon spicy. Here's a spicy icon right here. This is a select item, probably a special item from the restaurant. You can skip through that, right? So let's go back to the top for a second. Steaks, all get by all through that steakhouse. Now you might want to look here at the sides, right? So like I said, choice of steakhouse potato on one side. Okay, so we got to figure out where the sides are for that. Let's go back here. That's going to be in the sides menu, which, as I say, that's where you want to stay. And you could look at big bowl salads if you want. Okay, what do you got? Shrimp and pasta, chicken and shrimp, pork chops on a salad. 900 calories for salad, guys. What does this tell you right here? This is not a healthy salad. This is 900 calories. A salad should be about 200 calories. Even a huge salad that I make is like 250 calories tops. Here's a salad for you, 1,900 calories. You're going to, I'm going to have a salad, steak and shrimp on a salad. 2,000 calories for salad. It's ridiculous. This isn't even an option, guys. Okay, has some kick. This is the icon here. So these are all your salads. Let's go back to this top here. Salads are nothing. Sammy's and burgers. So sandwiches and burgers. What do we got? Blue chicken sandwich. This is nice that this menu puts the calories on it, so you can kind of see, right? Here you go. Prime rib sandwich, 1,330 calories. It's heart attack waiting to happen. Big bowl salads. Here we go. Cobb salad, 890 calories. Sorry, 890 calories to 1,360 calories. That's such a huge amount of calories for salad. A salad. It's ridiculous. Even the Caesar salad's 10,000 calories, 1,100 calories. So these salads are not what you're going to want to do. So you want to steer clear of that. So where are we going? We're going to the sides, guys. Like I said, you always go to the sides, and that's where you're going to want to go. Where are they? Here we go. Steakhouse, potatoes, and sides. Boom. Now we're looking at something. Skip by all that. Here we go. Here's your sides. This is where I would live on this menu. Mashed potatoes going to have a milk in them, but they're only 230 calories. So if you don't care about the milk, boom, there you go. Mashed potatoes. Aussie fries, 500 calories for fries. That's crazy. Baked potato, 340. That's about right for a very large baked potato. So that tells me baked potatoes doesn't have a lot of fat in it. They didn't add a lot of things to it. But when you order the baked potato, tell them you don't want any sour cream on it. You don't want any butter on it. And then it'll be 340 calories. This 340 calories is not with the sour cream and the marshmallow and the butter on top. This is the base baked potato, by the way. Sweet potato, 250 calories. That's about right. So again, the base potato. Make sure that you're not ordering this stuff on top of it. Fresh seasonal veggies, 100 to 130 calories. Okay, that's probably got a little oil in it. Just a little bit of oil and sauteed in it because that's a little high for veggies. Here we go. Fresh mixed veggies, 70 calories. That's where it should be right there. 70 calories. That would be steamed veggies right there. Seasonal rice, 320 calories. That's probably rice. It's probably a cup of rice right there. So that's rice all by itself. I would just make sure that it doesn't have anything added to the rice, any butter in the rice, which I don't think it does because 320 calories is about a cup of rice that's steamed and doesn't have any butter in it. So that's probably what you're going to get. Here's your house salad, 180 to 410 calories. 410 calories is probably with cheese in it and an egg. 180 calories is probably just a salad by itself with veggies and no egg or cheese. Caesar salad has Parmesan cheese on it and croutons. That's why 260 calories is a little bit more of a higher calorie content. So that's what you do, guys. You just go through these menus, and I just given you two, pretty common restaurants that you would go through that you would try to find. Here's your cocktail menu. Do they have any mocktails? I don't see any. So no, they don't have any mocktails, but um, that's what you go to. They got this new seasonal feature. Oh, so well, let's see. See now these things catch my eye. Boom! I'm looking at this picture. Ooh, get broccoli. Can I get broccoli from another menu? What do we got here? 18-ounce bone-in ribeye, extra marbled for maximum tenderness and maximum fat and maximum heart attack. Topped with the caramelized Jim Beam bourbon onions. So that's got a lot of sodium in it as well. Bacon, roasted garlic butter. Served with a choice of steakhouse, potato, and a side. So that must be the fresh seasonal veggies, which is the broccoli that we saw on the menu before. So there you go, guys. Don't worry about the dessert. Not something you want to eat. So that's it. That's how you check that out. And that's how you go about figuring out where you are going to look um, at your menus and figure out where you can eat and what you can eat off these menus. Very simple thing to do. That's all you got to do on these menus. I just walked you through it. So hope you found that slide very informational and very helpful. So we will see you at the conclusion. We'll wrap things up on this presentation in the next slide. All right. In conclusion, here, thank you guys for checking out the presentation. I hope this brought you a lot of tips. Like I said, we've been burned many times at restaurants, and so we just started devising a safety mechanism, kind of a warrior mentality, and a plan of action that we've put into place where we know when we're going to restaurants and how we're going to figure out how we're going to eat, how we're going to plan it out. And this has helped us so much because we go out to eat with people all the time, and like I said, 99% of the time we go to a restaurant that is not a vegan restaurant. We go to restaurants, we go to Pizza Ranch. We haven't went there in a long time, but some family members of ours just love Pizza Ranch, and we've been there and we've figured out something to eat at Pizza Ranch. So we can figure out something to eat at just about every restaurant. So it's good to have a game plan. It's good to be able to figure out what you're going to do when you get there. So, like I said before, the number one thing is plan ahead. You have to plan ahead. You have to plan out way in advance what you're going to do, looking at the menus ahead of time, looking at the restaurant ahead of time, finding out what you're going to eat before you even walk into the restaurant. A lot of times before we even walk into the restaurant, boom, we know exactly what we're ordering off that menu. Like we have already figured that out. Ask a lot of questions, like I said. Ask more questions than are normal. People are going to think you're weird. People are going to think you're out. Oh my God, here we go, this guy's going to order now. This will be something. So whatever. It's like, it's the way we do it. And that's what we do in order to stay healthy and stay within our goals. It's not a big deal. Ask a lot of questions and then go in there with confidence. Like, hey, I know I'm going to get something to eat here that's going to be good. I've figured out the menu, and we're going to go in here where it's going to be the best time ever. We're going to have good food, and hopefully the food's going to taste good, and they're going to make it the way that they should make it, and it's going to taste amazing. And just going to go in there, and we're going to have a good time. You have to understand you're going there in a social aspect, so you're really there to enjoy the company of other people. The food is really secondary. The food is really, really secondary. Obviously, you want to have good food and you want it to taste good, but I don't get too bogged down in the food. What we're really there for is being there for the, the, the companionship and spending time with friends and family. So go in there with confidence and make sure that you go in there with a positive attitude and have a good time. Expect that mistakes are going to happen, guys. Like, you're going to accidentally eat something that you didn't want to eat. You're going to accidentally eat something that had gluten that you didn't know had it, even though you asked all the questions. There's going to be mistakes. You're going to have to stick to a situation where you accept the fact that you're going to have a fattier meal than you would if you would have made it at home. You're going to have food that's going to have more sodium in it than it would if you would have been at home. There's just nothing you can do about that. Eating out is going to have that happen. So there's not really much you can do about it. So accept that mistakes are going to happen and that you're not going to get the healthiest of food. There's just nothing you can do with it. Stick with the sides. Like I said before, that's where you should live. You should live your life in that side menu and that salad menu for the most part, unless you're looking for something that's on the entree menu. But like I said, stick with those sides. Those sides will always, always be your friend, because in the sides are always the baked potato, the red potatoes, the seasonal veggies, the steamed veggies. Those are always in the side menu. So stick with the side menus. That's going to really help you. If you can, choose a dietary specific restaurant. We found many, many great vegan restaurants that we frequent, and we go there often. But obviously, if you're going to be going with people who are not vegan and you are vegan or vegetarian, obviously you're going to have to accept the fact that you can't always just pick your restaurants, because they're not going to want to go there. So you're going to have to pick their restaurants too. But if you can, just go to the restaurants make the food the way you like it, and make it in a fashion that keeps you within your health parameters and your health goals. And we only go to a very select few restaurants on a regular basis. But the restaurants that we go to that are new, we put into place these principles that I shared with you in this presentation. And absolutely last but not least, and I cannot stress this enough, when in doubt, just don't eat out. Like, just don't go out to eat. That's why we go to so few restaurants. We have our favorites that we go to on a regular basis, but we know that they're in accordance to what we want to do with our health goals. But for the most part, we cook at home well more than the majority of the time. We don't really eat out that often. If we do eat out, it may be once a week, maybe. Sometimes we go a couple weeks without eating out at all. But for the most part, we cook all our food at home, because you know you're going to prepare the food the way you want it to be prepared, and it's going to be within the parameters of the health goals that you want to achieve. So just cook at home more and eat at home more. But when you do have to go to the restaurant, here's a good way that you guys can have a good game plan going into it, and you can stay within your health goals, continue to be able to lose weight, stay off your medications, and stay out of the surgery table for sure, by eating foods that are going to be in accordance to those type of outcomes. So thank you guys for watching the presentation. Hope you got a lot out of it. If you have any questions, you can always message me through the Facebook page and routinehealthandfitness.com. Check out the website and the Facebook page, Routine Health and Fitness. And thank you guys for sharing this presentation with me. I hope you got a lot of value on it. We'll see you on the next one.